Hey, everybody, welcome back
Hey,
to
y'all.
another fantastic edition of the show. We are beyond thrilled to have you here rocking with His and Her Money once again, because you could be anywhere. You could be watching or listening to a whole bunch of other things, but you are rocking
Thank
with Talent
you.
and Tie. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're listening to the podcast, do us a favor, leave us a review. We are at 1,000 reviews, man. We got the 5-star joints going
Thank you.
hard.
Thank you. Thank
And it
you.
really encourages us to keep this thing going, man. So if you have not done that already, hit the review and leave it so
And
we
we
can
do
see
read
how
them.
we're doing. We actually read
So
them.
thank you.
We're
We may not
actually
be able to
encouraged.
respond, but we do
Hit
read
the
them.
subscribe button if you're on YouTube or the podcast app that you're listening to this on, because we want to make sure that you never, ever, 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 ever miss another episode of the His and Her Money Show, man. So here we are again, trying our best to inspire folks on their journey to take dominion over every area of their life, their money, and their life as a whole. And we're going to do that with an awesome, inspirational story
I'm
of debt
excited.
freedom.
Yep, I'm excited. We have a couple that's joining us. You all love it when we bring couples.
Yeah.
Y'all love it when we bring singles as well too. But when we bring couples, you guys love it when we do that. So we have a couple that's going to be sharing their debt payoff story as well as their journey to financial independence.
Tell them why we do this, Ty. I don't think people get it.
We do it because we want to see everyone set free.
Yeah.
Like debt carries so much bondage. We want to see people's lives change just with freedom. And with freedom comes options.
Yeah, man. And we want you to have options in your life. So that's why we keep bringing people, because y'all gonna quit saying like this is just some rare, far off thing that Talent and Ty did. We're gonna keep bringing you folks so you can see that it is happening all over the country. So we got Rashad and Nirvanna. They are from The Wealthy Educator, and they are here to share their journey so you can start or continue your journey as well. Hey, Rashad.
Hey.
Hey, Nirvana. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
How you doing?
We are doing well. We're excited to have you guys here, man, because y'all
Absolutely.
been doing some good stuff with your money. You've been putting yourself in position to have options and live life on your own terms. And we're excited to hear how you guys have been making this happen. But for those who are being introduced to you all for the very first time, can you say hello and let people know what you guys are all about?
Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm Rashad Muhammad, and I'm 41-year-old school principal here in Fort Worth, Texas.
I'm Nirvanna Mahammad, and I'm 38 years old. I'm also an educator, special education teacher. So, we love what we do.
Man,
Awesome.
all of my degrees in one screen. That's dope. I used to be a special education teacher. I used to be a school administrator. So I am well familiar with some of the obstacles that come with that type of life, man. But so you guys are here because you all have done some fantastic things with your finances. But take us back to the beginning. Let us know, why did you all start to take your finances as serious as you have? Because for a lot of people, we have no blueprint, so we kind of show up in adulthood and we just kind of fake it till we make it and just kind of go with the flow. But you guys got serious, real serious at a certain point in your life. Take us back to that moment.
Right. So I think most people's story starts with Dave Ramsey, right? Financial Peace University, which I think we went through like 2 or 3 times. But the real beginning of our story was a bankruptcy in 2011. Chapter 7, we had a new baby and we just couldn't make ends meet. We made decent money at the time, but we were just drowning in debt. Like we had so much debt, we didn't know what to do. We felt lost and we just had to do something about it. And even after the bankruptcy, we still had a lot of debt because so much of our debt was like student loans and things like that. So that was our wake up call. And we had to go back out and get more loans after the bankruptcy. So we had to do financial peace all over again. So
Wow.
It was that last class that really got us over the edge. I was on board that time, and we really just decided this is what we need to do. I had a van that I was driving, and I said, you know what, we need to sell our car. We need to get serious and really do something to take care of this debt.
So what was the starting point? Tell everybody the number, the amount of debt that you guys started off with, how much you've paid off, and then we're gonna dig into some of the tactical things that you all did in order to do that.
Okay, so great question. Post bankruptcy, I think we were at about 179, like around 2011. But when we went through financial peace again in 2014, we were at 85,000, and that was all unsecured debt. So that was Those are credit cards, student loans, and those kind of things. So the official number I use is 85,000 in 2014, and we got that paid off around January of 2017.
Awesome.
Talk about the emotions that go with that. Seeing that number, that six-figure number, or the 85,000 number. Some people, they know about how much debt they're in, and that number keeps them from doing anything about it because they feel like it's something that will always be a part of their life. So I'll just make the minimum payments, and when it's over, it's over. What type of emotions were you both feeling? I'm sure that there were different emotions for each one of you when you guys really did the math and saw the hole that you were going to have to dig yourselves out of.
Well, I mean, I was stressing over it for so long. I mean, since I was 18 years old, my freshman year in college, I remember getting a Citibank credit card, and my first charge was on a cell phone bill that I couldn't even use. I couldn't use the cell phone. I bought it in Atlanta, and when I went back to South Carolina for college, I couldn't even use that phone. So that was the downward spiral. I had a football scholarship, but it didn't cover everything. So I would go out and use my credit card to buy pizza and subs and wings and things like that. So before you knew it, that $50 balance was $5,000, and it just kept adding going. And by the time we graduated from college, we were just so far in debt. And every couple has the nerd and the free spirit, and the free spirit doesn't always feel the same, stress levels that the nerd feels. And I would go to bed stressed out every night, and I would try to explain to her how stressed out I was, but I don't think it totally resonated with her. She understood where I was coming from, but she didn't know how painful it was to be in that much debt to me, and I took responsibility for it since, I do consider myself the head of the household. So I don't know, what about you, babe?
I mean, I think seeing that amount written out was like, oh, wow. To know you're in debt is one thing, but to actually see what it is a whole different story.
Yeah. So many people, they think that they know how much debt that they're in, and we tell people, we give an assignment, just to kind of like go through the credit reports and things like that. But when you do see that number, it's a wake up call. It really is. Like, you can't ignore it. That number will stay in the forefront of your mind. I want to talk about, what was the purpose? Like, why start this journey? It's one thing to feel the stress, right? So for us, one of the reasons why we paid off our home, we wanted to be able to have options in case Tyler wanted to come home full time, and he was able to do that.
2 years ago.
But how many years after we paid off our mortgage?
2.
2 years. Okay. So 2 years after we paid off our mortgage, like, that was the plan. So what was the real plan? Why did you all want to get rid of debt? Was it just to feel good, or was there a specific thing that you all had in mind, a reason why you all wanted to clear yourselves from debt?
Okay, well, easy answer to that. So, like I said, I'm an educator, and there are, countless educators who stay in the game for 40, 50 years. And you're thinking, man, they're such a hero. They love the kids and they love what they do, which they do. But then when you have conversations with them, a lot of time, they stay in it so long because they have to. Like, they don't have any savings, they don't have a good pension plan, they still have debt when they're 60, 70 years old. And a lot of times I have seen people who would finally get to retire at 65 or 60, 66 years old or whatever, and the next year they wouldn't be here anymore. They would die. So they spent 40 or 50 of their working years, just punching in and working and, being an advocate for kids, but then they could only enjoy a year or two of retirement. I said, man, that just can't be us. It just can't be us. And, ever since I had that epiphany, I said, we're not gonna let that happen. So
Yeah.
We wanted to retire early, and we wanted to enjoy ourselves in retirement, not, as you mentioned, not retire at an older age and not be able to enjoy ourselves,
Legal & General America is a leader in low-cost, high-quality life insurance.
For nearly 70 years, Legal & General America has been providing financial protection to over 1.3 million families and businesses.
LGA makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy.
And agents are standing by to help you find the best coverage to fit your family's needs.
All you have to do is go to hisandhermoney.com/LGA to get a free quote now. That's a real thing. We tell people, for us with our plan, what can you do when you don't have any debt? You can do anything you want to.
Yeah.
Like, the truth of the matter is we could still keep working if we wanted to. But right now, the way that our company and things like that, now we're remote learning our children here at home. to be able to say, hey, I don't have to step outside of the home right now is a blessing. It's a blessing. So we tell people, get out of debt. You don't know what your future holds. You don't know what your tomorrow holds. Your desires may change. You may want to come home and be a stay-at-home parent. Whatever the case may be, get out of debt. Debt holds you back. Debt keeps you places that you don't want to stay. You're right. A lot of people are working simply because they have to.
That's the thing, man.
Yeah.
People hear that word, like you all just said, we want to retire early. We don't want to wait till 65 to retire. But even that word for some people is troublesome, right?
is.
The word retire, like
It's fearful.
you come out of college, you get at your first school, you're teaching, yeah, you're not thinking about retirement, right? So take that word out and just say life. I just want control of my
That's
life. Like Rashad said, I don't want to get to 65, put in 40. Now I'm free. And then a year later, it's over, right? You missed 40 years that you can't get back. It is our most valuable resource, time, something that we can never make more of. And so I think that's the thing that people have to take more serious. I don't care if you're 18, listening, 28, 38, 48, the best time to start investing is now because you want your life to be set up with as many options as possible.
Right.
I don't think we touched on how long it took you guys and where are you at in the process? You told us where you started. Where are you guys at in that journey? Did you get rid of it all? And how long did it take you if you did?
Yeah, so from about, I think we took that class in September of 14, and then we were debt-free completely by January of 17. And now we're just in the wealth accumulation stage. Like, I think I tell people all the time, the most powerful moment of our financial journey was getting out of the red, getting to a zero net worth, believe it or not. Like it's huge getting out of red and getting to black, even if it's $1. And ever since then, that the net worth has just been climbing so rapidly. And, when I compare us to where we were a year ago, I can't even calculate how we got, how the net worth keeps climbing like it is, but it just does it, whether it's the value of our house, if it's 403Bs, 457, Roth, it just continues to climb. And we wouldn't have that option if we continued having the debt. And a lot of people just, they live through life and they believe that they're always going to be in debt. They're always going to have a car payment. They'll always have a mortgage payment. Matter of fact, one of the most powerful videos that I saw was the one where you all took your kids to pay off the mortgage. And I just, vision us doing the same thing with our 3 kids. And it's definitely going to happen one day.
I know it's going to happen.
It is going to happen.
It's going to. You all are definitely focused. That's the thing. People don't realize, and you shared this in your story, you all started and stopped a few times before it was really like go time. And so don't allow your past failures, because maybe you all stopped the journey. Maybe someone that's listening, maybe they stopped their debt payoff journey or their wealth accumulation journey. Get back up and start again. Like, don't quit. Every single day you make a decision to make positive decisions towards your financial health and goals is in the right direction. I definitely want to talk about the wealth accumulation phase. Before we do, I want to talk about what were some of the strategies that you all put in place to knock out this debt. That was like $85,000 that you all paid off. Was it in like 4 years?
I think it was about 3.5.
3.5, hey.
Nice. Get your 3.5.
That's right. 3.5 years. I love it. Talk about that. I mean, you all are in the education field. We were in the education field. When we paid off our home, his figure did not exceed 6 figures. And so talk about not necessarily the challenges, but how you all did not allow necessarily your salaries to stop you. So talk about some of the strategies that you all put in place to knock out this debt.
So we got on the same page. That's super important, is that we both allowed each other to have a certain amount of blow money, because you go crazy if you don't do that. You go crazy if you feel like you're too confined in a certain space and you can't spend a little bit. You want to feel like a little bit of money is yours, because we put everything into one pot. And sometimes that can get stressful. Like, I see all the spending and that might be offensive to my wife. But when we start saying, okay, you get 100 here, you get 100 here, then I think that makes it a little easier. So you definitely have to budget, and obviously budgets are something that need to be tweaked, whether it's every month or every week, or sometimes we might have to have an emergency meeting every couple of days just to make sure we're on track. But we will budget, and basically for that time, we would put almost all of her salary on debt. I mean, we're looking at, $3,000 to $4,000 a month that we're just throwing toward debt, and we could have easily did other things with it, but it was just important, because when you're drowning in debt, it really does feel like you're being tied down by a bunch of bricks and thrown into an ocean or something where you just cannot you can't stay afloat. And once you get that off, it's amazing. I mean, it's incredible. Being debt free is, I think, one of the most freeing things that anybody could do in their lives. What do you think?
I mean, absolutely the number one key for us was budgeting. I think if you're controlling where your money goes instead of the opposite way around. So just knowing what you're spending on what, you still want to have a little room to live a little, and have a little fun, but keep it at a amount you can control,
And let me say this, like, you always gonna have that one spouse who is the reluctant spouse. Like, I'm super excited about getting that budget, the zero-based budget down to zero. And I present it to her, I email it to her and say, hey, look it over, baby, and tell me what you think. And when we see each other that night, she hasn't looked it over yet. And I'm like, I just spent like an hour trying to perfect this thing. But you just have to realize that the other person isn't always going to be as excited as you are about it. But that's, opposites attract. So as long as you're on the same page, you can't be too pushy. I had to be respectful of her, and she was definitely respectful of me. And I think once we got to that point, like, that's where we were successful in our journey.
I think it's important to understand each other's personality, and that's a big key in making it work.
So let's talk about those moments, though. Those moments where, Rashad, you were frustrated that she didn't check the doggone budget that I sent her. And Nirvanna, talk about the frustration that you would feel sometimes. Oh, here he go with this budget. Like, be real, right? It's some people listening. Like, that's why they ain't going further in their progress, because they're letting these opposite viewpoints prevent them from doing anything. You all had opposite viewpoints, but y'all were able to find the middle ground. How'd you do it?
Right. I wouldn't say so much that we were opposite. I would say that he was just more excited. He's more financially savvy. And for me, I was interested, but it wasn't, so I could trust that what he was doing, that the blueprint was solid. So, once we reviewed it and talked through it, I knew it was good. But, when you have those moments where one person is more energetic, another person is more reluctant, just be patient and work with each other, because, eventually you'll get there.
Yeah, and I'll say this to the nerds who actually like to create the budgets. you have to be realistic. Like, we got 3 kids, and if you put down $215 for the food budget, that's not realistic. I mean, come on.
Yes, be realistic, please. Food and, for us, a hair or whatever it is, let's be realistic.
That's so true. That's so true. So I like this. So the technique that you all utilized was your budget, as well as not falling for the 2-income trap. We tell people all the time, if both spouses are out working, you're bringing income in the household, try to see how much of one spouse's salary that you can literally throw at debt or build wealth or savings. So you all kind of utilize one of your salaries in that way to be able to knock off so much debt in such a short period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super important too. And another thing is, when you're doing a budget, like, you have to prioritize debt payoff. Like, you can't do 100 other things in your budget and then say, okay, I have $72 left to put on debt. You have to say, okay, I'm gonna put $4,000 on debt this month, and then everything else kind of falls in line. And I mean, when you do that, then you're making a priority to get out of debt, because it's super important.
And I don't think we mentioned the 85,000. What debt was that? What did it consist of? Was it vehicles, student loans? And did you all do the debt snowball approach as well too, where you paid off the smallest balance first?
Great question. So it was mainly student loans and credit cards. It was that's pretty much what it was. And so a lot of people, there's a debate about the debt avalanche and the debt snowball. We did a combination of both. So if it was like a small balance, if it ended up being like a $300 balance, regardless of the interest rate, we would pay it off, knock it out, because you do get those quick victories. But if it was, we were actually able to ultimately consolidate things and get it to we got some $30,000 credit limits that might have 0% interest for 12 months with no balance transfer fee. So I was able to kind of finagle around with a few of those, and it just helped. So every dollar that went to the debt after a while was just going straight to debt. So,
unpack that though, because a lot of people have heard about the balance transfer method, but they're not real sure about the tactics, right, or the technique itself. So how did you find the right card to make this work? What are some things to look out for?
Did you pay
if
off
you're
the
trying to
entire
make this happen?
balance prior to the interest finally kicking in? Talk about the strategy.
Okay, so absolutely, you have to there are a lot of websites out there that tell you, who has the best balance transfer offers out. So I would just Google and just do a little research. I found a few credit unions that had a zero balance transfer fee and 0% for 12 months. So actually with one of them, I was able to get two $30,000 cards. So that's $60,000 right there that had zero balance transfer fee and 0% for 12 months. So at that point, you're just basically, you divide up whatever number you have and just, by 12, and that's the payment you're making every month. So once we got, if I'm not mistaken, once I got to the last $36,000, I was able to do $3,000 a month for 12 months. Now, some people will say invest that money and, wait and then pay it off that 12th month, but I just didn't. I just wanted to pay it off each month. I don't like to play around with my money. Nothing's guaranteed in the stock market, so I'd rather just put it on that card every month and just pay it off like that.
Yeah, I love that. That's
It
one
just
of
goes to show that personal finance is personal.
That's why I love the His and Her Money Show, you guys.
Why you love it, girl?
Like, we bring you options. We are all for
There's no one way to do this thing.
Get out of debt.
Just get out of debt.
Exactly. I was going to say.
Well, for those of you all are keeping score, that's 3 methods that they use: debt snowball, debt avalanche, balance transfers. There's more than one way to get to zero. We just need y'all to get to zero.
That's right.
And I'll say this, like, you gotta be very careful, because there are some people, they do these balance transfers or they do debt consolidation, and then they run back up the balance. And y'all know that. So just obviously, if you're going to, and I'm not saying cut up any cards or anything like that. Like you said, personal finance is very personal. Like, I'm not gonna tell you not to use credit cards or any of that stuff like some people do, but you have to know your personality. Like, we use credit cards every month, and you basically,
we do too.
Yeah, it's a 2% discount on every purchase we make. That's how these are purchases we're gonna make anyway.
Anyway, and you make money. I kind of feel like sometimes I'm like, are we kind of over? Are we over I'm talking about you and I, like telling people, because I feel like, especially in the beginning of His or Her Money, we will always say things like, now, if you're not careful, don't do it. I think that as adults, at this point, I think that credit cards can get you in trouble. I think that loans can get you in trouble. I think that you all know this by now. So hopefully you all are making wise decisions for your household, and you're being diligent and consistent when it comes to if you choose to use balance transfers and things like that. So y'all are old enough now to understand that.
Y'all grown.
We don't need any more disclaimers.
No more disclaimers.
Yeah.
Get out of debt, doggone it. I don't know how else to say it to
Do
you.
it.
Yes.
So y'all did a lot of work, did a lot of strategies, had some starts and stops and some restarts, and y'all made it to the finish line. One day, it was time to make that final debt payment. So a lot of people listening are wondering what the heck that feels like. So can you take us to that moment, paint the picture, let us know how it went, how did it feel, and give everybody some encouragement to keep going.
Like, the balance had been rapidly going down every month, decreasing every month. So I remember one night we had enough in the checking account to pay off the balance of the credit card. So I hit it, and then like 2 days later, I checked in the morning, it was paid off. It had a zero balance. And before I went to work that day, I got everybody in the living room. We did our own little debt-free screen. Yeah, like we're not going to Nashville for this. We're gonna do it right here in our living room. And I posted on Facebook. Obviously, it had a lot of likes and comments. But that day when we went to work, I know for sure, like, I felt like a different man. I felt like I was going to work for my family rather than for Bank of America or Chase. I mean, it was amazing. It was incredible.
Wait a minute, hold up. We can't just skate by that. We're gonna run that tape back. And I need you to say that quote one more time so people can get that in their spirit. What you just said. You felt like what now?
Well, I felt like I was finally going to work for my family rather than the credit card companies or the banks like Chase or Bank of America. That's what it felt like.
We knew that was a new chapter for us, a new beginning for sure.
That's real.
And let me say, it was bittersweet. Like, now we see these graphics about Ben and Arthur or whatever, the earlier you're able to invest, obviously every every year means so much more down in retirement. So when you look and you see that you're debt free, it only makes you that much more upset at yourself that you didn't do it years earlier. Because I was one of those guys that's like, I'm not investing until I'm debt free. But then you think like, man, if I would have been debt free, if I would have started this thing 10 years ago, we would have been millionaires so much sooner, So it's just something that, now our goal is to educate those behind us, to educate our friends. That's why we started doing the wealthy educator. It's an oxymoron, right? Like those two words don't go together. Like a wealthy educator, what is that, right? So we're just trying to prove to people that it's very possible, and we're doing it. Yeah,
that's right. And don't live with regrets. Everybody's journey, the power of being able to have your paychecks be your paychecks, and you can throw it at investments of your choice is still great. And so that's why we tell people, don't live with regret. I'm sure we all have them. If we would have done this or that sooner, where will we be? But the most important thing is that you all are changing your family tree forever. Right now. And so that's remarkable. Kudos to you all for that. I want to briefly talk about, before we end this, what's your plan now? You guys are now like headed towards so financial independence. So talk about the wealth accumulation. I want you all to kind of dig a little deeper. What's on the horizon? What's your plan now? What are you able to do with your paychecks now that you paid off that debt? I know that you all still have a mortgage, and the plan is to pay off the mortgage, but what are you guys doing now?
Well, yeah, our plan is definitely fire. Actually, it's not going to be fire because we're both going to have our pensions. We'll be able to retire. I'll be 53, she'll be 51. But we're maxing out our 403B, Roth IRA. We have a 457 as well, and that's it. Just wealth accumulation, and our ultimate goal is to just be able to do whatever we want. Like, I think the most important thing of being financially free and well off is not necessarily just having a wad of cash, right? It's to provide options for yourself and your family. Now when there's a request for a donation, like to March Up Dimes through my fraternity, we're able to give whatever we want to give, and we don't bat an eye at it, And I don't know, what do you have to add?
I mean, we just feel lighter. I mean, it just feels freer. We're able to do what we want to do. We don't feel so confined, controlled.
Yeah, like right now, I'm waiting on a friend of mine. She's a travel agent. I'm waiting on her to text me back about an 8-day cruise we're looking at that's going to leave from Galveston and go to the Bahamas. So
take us with you.
Come on.
Please.
Tell her to
ready
book
to go.
four tickets.
I love it.
We actually taking the kids. We took them on one last year, and it's just something like Disney. We took them to Disney in 2016. I had never been to Disney. We couldn't afford it. And they did the cruise last year, and it's something that they will talk about for the rest of their lives. I can't even tell you how much it costs us, but I do know that for the next 40, 50, 60 years, it's a memory that we'll have.
And see, that's the type of stuff that doesn't fit in the calculator.
Nope.
It doesn't fit in the spreadsheet. And that's why you all shouldn't have zero regrets, right? Because you can't put it in a spreadsheet, that moment where all 5 of you all were in the living room screaming to the top of your lungs about the debt freedom journey. All 5 of you all experienced that. You can't put into a spreadsheet that feeling you get when you roam the hallways of your school knowing that you don't owe nobody nothing.
You're working for your family.
Nirvana just said, I feel lighter. Guess what? You can't type that into a calculator, right? So you can look at spreadsheets and Bob and Jim and whoever, right? But some things you just can't calculate. So I hope everybody listening can fully understand, can even grasp. Even if you're just listening, you're not watching the video, guess what? They look lighter. You can hear it in their voice,
Don't watch
right?
the video. Go to our YouTube channel.
YouTube.com/His and Her Money. And so kudos, salute to the work that you all were willing to put in, the sacrifices you all were willing to make in order to get your family in the position that you all are sitting in today. If there's someone listening right now who needs kick in the pants, man. They heard your story. It was entertaining, but they're like, man, can I do that? What would you say to them?
I would say absolutely. I mean, you have to have if you're married, you obviously have to have a really supportive partner. And I couldn't have asked for a better partner throughout this journey. My wife is super supportive, and without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I don't know. I think if we can do it, anybody can. We struggled for so long, and we made it up in our minds that we are going to be the ones to change our family tree. Like now our kids come to us, we give them $50. They're like, hey, I want to put $30 in Vanguard or whatever. They're now we struggle to get them to spend money. So
Our daughter is a complete saver. She doesn't want to spend the dime. So she's always trying to invest and save. So, I mean, it's a good thing that they know these things and they'll keep it with them forever.
Oh, true.
That's awesome, man. Incredible. So let everybody know how they can keep up with you guys on the internet as you all continue to spread your message.
yeah, so I just started a YouTube channel called The Wealthy Educator, where I've had an opportunity to interview some really financial heavy hitters. And if you can check that out, The Wealthy Educator on YouTube and The Wealthy Educator on Instagram, you'll be able to see some interviews. And like I said, I just started, so I only have about 3 interviews posted, but we have some more coming up, some really powerful couples like yourself. And we do look forward to continuing to go on this journey. I just want other educators to see that it's possible. Just because you choose such a noble field doesn't mean you have to struggle throughout that journey. You can have a prosperous retirement, but it starts with you understanding that you are important and you make a difference, but it's also important that you take care of yourself first, your financial well-being. What about you?
I would say just start. I mean, people think it's not attainable, but it is. We didn't think it could be, but we believed and we just started and we just kept going. And here we are.
And here y'all are, debt free.
Love it.
So salute to you all, Rashad,
Congrats.
Nirvana, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to share this incredible story with our audience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, and we will be sure to send you the video when we pay off our mortgage.
Yes.
Cannot wait to check that out. We love to hear that. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, another fantastic, awesome, incredible, inspirational, debt-free story. We hope that you got inspired to either start or continue on your journey to debt freedom and financial independence, because it can be yours. It is attainable for you. Yes, you can do this as well. Remember, we've got a ton of inspiration and education just like this over at our website, hisandhermoney.com. That's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time. Peace.
Bye, y'all.